Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to AARP's Back to Basics. I'm Rico Burton and I volunteer with AARP Arizona. As you probably know, AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization who helps in make the lives of 50 plus people better in so many ways, financially, emotionally, and physically. So we do a lot of things here. In the month of September, we're going to be taking a look at staying relevant in the workplace. What can we do for the 50 plus community to help them stay relevant in the workplace? AARP has over 38 million members nationwide and over 900,000 right here in Arizona. So we have resources to help you. Take a look at what you can find on our website, and a URL will be coming across the screen. Make sure you go to the Facebook page and take a look at some of the items that we have so that you can take advantage of them. Take a look at past episodes and see what's what. But today we're going to get started talking about staying relevant in the workplace. Without further ado, good morning, good morning, good morning, Coach Sherry Ann.
Good morning, Lady B. How are you today?
I won't complain. How about you?
I'm good. You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. How pleasant are you? Oh, I almost forgot to say, for those joining us, make sure that you tell us where you're from. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I'll be sure to take a look and get to them. All right. And thank you so much. That's kind of you. You look lovely as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, staying relevant in the workplace. This is such an interesting thing that kind of creeps up on people in the 50 plus community. It's like staying relevant if you're in a current job or if you're looking for a job. I mean, so there's two things here that we'll kind of be addressing at the same time. But it's, because they've done a study that in 2022, 35% of people in the workforce are 50 plus. So that's still a significant amount of people 50 plus that are working. And the other thing that I found very, very interesting was 35% of millennials. Now, do we know what millennials are? So millennials are considered 26 to 41-year-olds. How they figure all that part out, like, I don't know. So, and I'm above 41, so I don't know what I'm categorized as, but they're saying that 58% of millennials only stay at their job for 3 years. So for people 50 plus, that's actually a good sign because people are coming and going, and if you just stay the course, or if you're looking for a job and you're 50 plus, like your chances are there because millennials are floating in and out of careers, which is really quite interesting, I thought.
Do they say why they're doing that?
No, there was really no say about it. But, it's one of the biggest things about being successful in the workplace. It's not about age, it's really about action. So if you're concerned about your age, we're here to help you set that aside and give you some confidence on staying relevant in the workplace or becoming relevant if you're going back into the workforce. And speaking of which, so if you are looking for a job, I did come across two websites, and our producer here can put them up on the screen. I forgot to give them to her ahead of time, but it's whatsnext.com and workforce50.com. Those are two great resources that you can utilize if you are looking for a job. If you're out on the job search and you're 50 plus and you're like, where do I start? Where do I go? How do I do this? And so those are two great websites. So once again, it's whatsnext.com and workforce50.com.
All right. Well, while you're adding that, let me add one and say if you are looking for a job, September is Update Your Resume Month nationally. And I am president of the Resume Writers Council of Arizona, and we are doing resume reviews this month, actually this week on the 15th. And so then if you're interested, we do have some slots. They're waiting list slots, but we may be able to get you in and take a look at your resume. So you can go to rwca.org and take a look there, and maybe we can help you. All right. Thanks, Coach.
Well, so since we're on that, I want to dovetail into a few questions that I was even asking prior to us coming on live. And because I was reading about there's certain ways to go about writing your resume if you want to avoid putting your age on your resume, because age discrimination is a real thing. It's not allowed, but it does happen. And so there's these things that you can do for your resume to not fully display your age out there if you're concerned about it. But the reality is if you avoid it and then the interviewer asks you, even though they're not allowed to, it's like you said earlier, it's on your application, but you can gracefully step into that and say, you can openly state your age and be confident and stand in it, but so on resumes, was there a tip to avoid putting your
Oh, yeah, there's lots of things that you can do. One thing is to make sure that you do not go past 10 years in your experience, what you've done when you list the years or where you have worked. And you say, well, I did my best work 30 years ago. What do I do about that? Well, we find ways to incorporate that in other areas. It may be in some of in a skills section or your qualifications section. We can find other places to put them so that they show up. We can even chart them and show that these are some of the skills sets that you have without telling exactly when you got them. So, the truth of the matter is, once you get there, they're going to see you. They're going to know that you're 50 plus probably. All right. And so you do have to be ready for that. And hopefully when they put out the job descriptions, you'll be able to tell what they're looking for. One of the reasons I asked about the millennials and why they're coming and moving, the jobs have changed. People used to stay in jobs 30, 40 years and then get a pension and go home and sit down somewhere. It's different now. We're in this big technology world and in an entertainment world. So people, yes, they come and go, and it's not a big deal to them. It's not like you're disloyal. It's part of the culture. Right. And that's something different than the 50 plus, which is one reason that many times corporations are interested in hiring 50 plus, because they believe we'll stay.
Right. Well, we are living in a digital age, like you said, so more and more things and more jobs, even jobs are becoming automated, which makes a person obsolete, and so it's important. And so we'll just dive into, some tips on helping you. And so one of the things is, learning and practicing strategies, to prevent you from being obsolete. So if you're within a business, a company that is either moving more automated or really incorporating some more digital things into their company, go and stretch your comfort zone. Go learn either a new skill or a new, acquire some new knowledge that's going to help boost you. So and that's one thing that's going to help you stay relevant, and it's going to push you outside your comfort zone. But go learn something new. And, or if you have a technical skill that's evolving, because everything's always evolving, continue to do continuing ed on that so that you're continuing to grow with that skill and not just let it die off. And sometimes it takes on like learning a whole new thing, like coding. If you've never done coding. I was talking to one of my kids about taking a coding class because it's going to be needed. Or maybe learn a new language. That actually might be kind of fun and very useful depending upon what industry you're working in. Look at digital marketing. Digital marketing is becoming huge because we're moving away from commercials on TV, so everything's becoming much more digital. So look at digital marketing, or, any kind of data analysis, so just stretching your comfort zone and kind of stepping outside of what you're currently doing and seeing if you can continue to build on a skill that you really like or learn a new skill.
I can share another website, and it is gclearnfree.org. That's gclearnfree.org. This is a skill, a service that Goodwill offers, and you will find so many topics there. When you get to the site, you can click on something that says all topics, and you will find everything from learning how to budget to doing email to learning Outlook. They have all the different words going way back to Word 1900 probably up to now to 2016 2018 Word. And so and then you just click on those and you learn them, and you can learn Excel, Access, all these different things. And there's digital things that you can learn as well. Google offers a digital marketing as well. The nice thing about this, when you do it, and you do it at your own pace, it's self-learning and self-paced. Many times at the end of it, you'll take a little quiz, and then you'll get a certificate that says you have passed.
Yes.
The good news about that, you can now put that on your resume, saying that is something that you actually know how to do. So that increases your value even more.
Yes. It's such a good thing to access. There's so much available to us online as far as online courses. And one of the things that you can do for yourself, if you're like, I don't even know where to start, is like, well, look at where you're currently working or where you would like to work and identify your own gaps. We all have gaps. We all have space that we can learn and move into. So identify those gaps and then go find something that's going to give you a qualification or like a certification that you can put on your resume, or take to your employer and be like, look, I've done this. And sometimes if you're in a job, sometimes employers will sponsor those courses if it's a paid course that you have to pay for or to further your development in the workforce. A lot of the times, if you just go ask your employer, they will pay for it. They're happy to have you grow and learn because at the end of the day, by you gaining more knowledge, you're probably going to improve their bottom line. And so they're willing to invest a little bit in you, especially if you're showing the initiative. So don't hesitate if you're in a job to go ask your employer to sponsor a new certification for you.
True.
That's really important. So so just go get out of your comfort zone, go find something new to learn and add it to your repertoire. So one of the other things too is getting on social media. And because every company that's thriving is on social media. And if you can use LinkedIn, that's one of the biggest social media sites to use for business connections and networking. And if you're not familiar with it, there's courses even to get familiar with how to use LinkedIn. So, but that's probably the best social media. But if your company has, or a company that you're looking to go work for has social media accounts, make sure that you're logging on to theirs and just participating in things that they're posting because they're out there posting to drive their business. So if you're helping, looking at it, commenting on it, then that's help driving it. So they're going to see that you're relevant because you're on social media and you're helping promote the business via social media. So I know that a lot of people are like, ooh, social media, especially, older generations, but get out there. It's necessary. It's being used. Every company that is successful has social media.
That said, let me then add, talking about age and how do we veil perhaps our age when we're 50 plus, when you go on social media and the usernames that you choose, be mindful of those. Granny 62, probably not a good idea. Okay. You find something a little more professional. And even with the emails that you use, if you're going to set up something for job seeking and you like your Granny 62 for your kids or whatever, that's fine. Set up a separate one, that's more professional. And then that won't tell your age depending on the names that you use.
And if you're still using AOL, you probably should get a new email too. AOL will definitely date you. So do not put an AOL email out there. Just go get a Gmail account from Google. So
True.
that will definitely age you. That's so funny though. It's like Granny 62. It's like that would be such a given, but it's so interesting the things that we kind of take for granted and don't think of. But yeah, be mindful of and just stick with your name. Just keep it be your name. It doesn't need to be anything fancy or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not desperate for work.
Right.
At gmail.org, none of that.
Please hire me at Gmail.
Right. And some people may not like to use their name, and we understand that. Maybe use your initials or something else. And be careful of using states and the places, because if you ever need to go into work and they see that you are only in Arizona, then they may not look at you. Or if they see that you're in Chandler and the job may be in Sun City West, and they'll think, oh, she's not going to want to drive all the way over there. And so you don't want to limit yourself. It's unfortunate we have to think of all these little things, but they do make a difference.
Yeah, they do. They do. But it's just being proactive and setting yourself up, creating the stage and representing yourself appropriately. And not pigeonholing yourself and things like that. So another thing to do is just have the confidence of knowing and sharing your value. We all have value, but we all are also our own worst critic, and we tend to tear ourselves down. But know your value and know what you bring to the table, because your years of productive work that you've done up to now give you experience. In a lot of ways, experience speaks more than anything. because you can help a younger generation avoid pitfalls. You can help them save time. You can help create a better revenue structure because you've seen what doesn't work. So your experience comes with all those years of productive work. So know it, own it, and be sure to share it, because that's the other thing, is making sure that you're letting it be known. And you don't have to boast and have an ego or anything about it. You can do it with grace and respect, but having the confidence of knowing what your value is. So, take the time to look back at your experience, what you have to contribute, and have that on the tip of your tongue if you're ever asked, so that you can know that, yes, this is what I bring to the table.
There are lots of resources out there and assessments that you can do to find what your strengths are. And, while you may know that you're good at this, that, or the other, sometimes even the language can be different. Gallup did Strengths Finder. That is something that you can do. It's not free, but it's a wonderful tool that helps find your top 32 strengths, and they narrow them down to your top 10 and then your top 5. Many organizations use those. And if you can speak that language once you get them, like one of mine is individualization. And what that means is I'm able to look at people as separate entities and understand their value, understand their worth. And so when you find things like that, you can include those in your resume and in your speech when you're in an interview. Another suggestion I have is write down the things you know you're good at. Then write down the things you like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you take a look at those, and then the things that you're very, very good at. Okay, sometimes I know how to do something, but I know how to budget, but I don't want to do finance. So write down the things you know how to do, write down the things you're good at, and write down the things you like to do. And when you finish with that list, you should come up with whatever you have 3 check marks by. That too may begin to be a list of things that you could add to what Coach just said.
Yeah, and the other thing too is I found that a lot of companies are also not only looking at what you can contribute to their company, but they're also wanting to know what you're doing outside of your work, and how you're giving back, because they've done studies that people that are more gracious and more giving back to their community are also more productive at work. They want productive employees. They don't want to just hire somebody that's good on paper. So, and that also plays so well into your experience, because I'm sure you've done time, serving and giving back to others. And that's something that you definitely need to be putting on your resume and also sharing, because companies do want people that are giving back, because it does prove to be more lucrative for them in the long run, because you're going to be more productive.
Absolutely. That's very true. Be mindful what you put down. You don't want to put, if you volunteer with a political organization, you don't have to say which one. You just be careful of those kind of things, because you don't want to rub people the wrong way. Be mindful of that. That's another way too, though, people can find your age when they ask the question very innocently. So tell me, what do you like to do on the weekend? Oh, the weekends I spend with my grandbabies, and now I got you. Right? Be careful. And it sounds so innocent, but there are ways that we can ask these questions to try to get what we want.
Yep. Very crafty.
So when they ask that kind of question for me, I just know how to say, weekends are a time that I rejuvenate, and I'm able to relax and spend time with family and friends and prepare myself for the coming week. I didn't tell you anything, did I? Right? But I'm still
know how to take pause and fill your own cup so that you can be good come Monday. Yeah. That's what you said too. That's what I heard. So
wonderful. All right.
Another thing that people is an oversight is read a book. Read books. And whether it's a book that you can hold in your hand, or if it's on your iPad, or however you like to read, but read. And the reason behind that is because reading actually has been proven to give you perspective and help your creativity. And so Dr. Seuss always said it best. It's always such a cute book that's given to graduates, and the quote is, the more that you read, the more things you know. The more you learn, the more places you'll go. And there's a lot of truth to that. So make sure you're reading, read a book, or pick up a publication of some sort. Be reading, and nonfiction, is okay. And, and literature in that frame because I like nonfiction, but I've found that fiction is what really opens up the creativity and the perspective on things. And so make sure you're reading if you're not reading. Pick up a book.
The good news is AARP has book clubs. So when you go to the website, take a look and you can click on it and join the book clubs so that you can be a part of groups. You can connect with other people while you're also reading. That's a great thing. And of course, if you don't have a lot of time to read or you don't want to just sit, you can have audiobooks.
Yes.
So you can books on tape, and many of them you can get for free. If you have a library card, there's an app called Overdrive. It's going to be changing the name to Libby, I think, but Overdrive is what it is presently. And as long as you have a library card, you can check out the books, whichever ones they have, for listening, in your ear.
Yep.
You have options.
Yep. When my grandfather got to where he couldn't read anymore, he switched to doing Overdrive, and I'd load a book for him every few days because he would just plow through them. Yeah, it's great. So reading a book is really, really very important. Another is attend industry events. Every industry has events, whether they're networking events or promotional events, anything like that. But attend those because it will not only improve your knowledge, especially if your industry is constantly evolving and growing, but it gives you an opportunity to network, and other opportunities usually open up at industry events. So pay attention to your employer and see if they're posting events, and attend them or go look for them, but attending those will definitely open up some doors for you.
Good.
Next, utilize your internal network. So, and what I mean by that is seek a mentor and be a mentor. And so do peer-to-peer, make sure you're having peer-to-peer time of where you're helping your peers, grow, and in turn, they're helping you grow. And that increases your viability, your value at work. So because you're contributing to the masses, you're not just being a lone soldier, so make sure that you're utilizing your internal network and find somebody that will help promote you, create opportunities for you to grow, things to step into, but then turn around and make sure that you're mentoring somebody else and helping bring them along.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. Those are my tips. I mean, so it's really staying relevant is kind of scary sometimes, but I just want to encourage you to not allow the little voice in your head being like, oh, I'm getting old. Is my value still there? And if you're constantly seeking curiosity, like curiosity is one of the things that I always tell people, like, make sure you're continually curious. If your curiosity goes away, that's where things start to really slow down. But if you're constantly curious and constantly trying to learn things and grow, you're always going to be valuable in whatever workplace you're in.
You can also take a look at the personal talents and skills you have. Sometimes you may not want to go back into an actual workplace. Find out what you can do with what you already know. Maybe you're crafty, and so you're making pins for people or tote bags or something. There are other things and other ways that you can make money if that's what you're interested in doing, without having to necessarily go back into a workplace. But should you decide to go in, be prepared. There's a lot of preparation that you're going to need to do with your resume, with your interviewing skills, with your dress. Take a look at that too. I'm not suggesting that you need to dress like young folk, whatever that means, but we need to make sure that we are a little up to date in how we present ourselves. And so being prepared like that makes a difference. Scour the websites of the places that you would like to work, or from the work that you've done. Take a look at the language in the job descriptions and make sure that you use those keywords, in your resume and or your cover letter. There's a site that is called Tag Crowd, TAGCROWD.com. You can, copy the job description that you're interested in and put those words into the little box that they have. And what will populate for you is the number of times a word is used. So you want to, exclude the, and of those kind of things. And then you may see some other things that come up, leadership or technology or whatever words come up. And those may be some of the buzzwords that the automation, because automations many times is going to look at your resume before a human.
Right.
And so you want them to pull your resume out. And part of that is to have some of the words that they have in their job description that lets them know that you may be an initial potential fit. So
Yes.
that's something else to consider. Mhm.
Well, and so you just said something I do want to draw attention to, in the sense that because we're becoming such an automated world, that it may the first eyes on your resume may not even be eyes, like, human eyes. And so paying attention to the needs that have to be met in order for you to actually be seen is important, and recognizing that how you not only present yourself, but present your resume is key, especially today. Because, like, back in the day, it was just, you walked into a place with your resume in hand and asked for an interview. It was like, and so that's usually how it used to be done, but now it's not that case anymore. And so it's, being mindful and using the resources that, Lady B has shared about resume building, and having somebody help you with your resume is really, really important and beneficial, because it's not how it used to be. So it's important that we evolve with the industry.
Right.
That's how you stay relevant, is evolving with it, and staying, like a stick in the sand, like, nope, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I used to do it. And it's like, well, you got to evolve with it.
Well, and AARP also has a whole section devoted to 50 plus workers. So they have things there to help you with resume writing and interviewing and the rest. So you might want to take a look, just look around the website and just scour it and plug in some things and tag some things so that you can come back to it later. But set aside the time. Looking for a job, it's a job to look for a job. How about that? It's a job to look for a job, and you'll need to set aside the time for that. So schedule the time when you're feeling well, when you're feeling alert, so that you don't feel overwhelmed or you don't feel frustrated and think that things are hopeless. It's not. There are a lot of jobs that are out there, but preparing yourself for, getting into the door, and then what you're going to need to do once you're in the door, that's very, 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 very important.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if you're already in a job and you want to stay there because you really have loved it, and you're concerned about staying relevant, utilize the tips that we've given you, in the sense of making sure that you're staying abreast of everything that's constantly happening in your workplace, and stay in front of it. Be curious. Be curious.
And let your manager or supervisor know how much you enjoy your job. Let them know that you would really like to learn a new skill. And as she mentioned earlier, perhaps they will even pay for it. And there are conferences that you can go to. There's so many webinars. There are a lot of free things. Find some things for them and say, I found these things and I'd love to attend one of these. Could we make the opportunity for me to do that? It shows that you've been proactive, and who knows? The worst they can say is no. And what if they say yes, right?
Ask for what you want. That's what I always even tell my children. I'm like, just ask for what you want. Be prepared for a no, and then you have to step away and prepare and go back. But ask for what you want. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. So you're not going to be handed everything. So just ask for what you want.
Finding a wonderful person to help you with your resume is essential, because a good resume writer will know which industries, what industry wants what. I work with some people that do things mostly for vets, and some other people were just new college grads, others for the C execs. So there's a lot of different people that are out there that will be able to help you along the way, and just take advantage of all of them. You can even go to some of the colleges if you want, and some of their career centers, and see what's available and be able to talk to someone. Practice interview skills. You can go on YouTube and find out what are some of the tough interview questions, and something that you should absolutely learn how to do, but you have to pay me, honey, before I tell you, is learn how to answer the question, why should we hire you? Why are
Mhm.
you best for this job? They're going to ask that. And that may be the question that sets you apart from everyone else, because everybody else is there because they have the same skills and everything that you do, or else they wouldn't be there. They have to have at least the minimum qualifications. So, what are you bringing to the table that's going to be different? All right, our time is up. Thank you so much, Coach Sherry Ann. You've been absolutely wonderful. Next time when we're together, we're still going to be talking about the workplace, but stress in the workplace and what we can do. When those little millennials get on your mind, honey, and your nerves, you look at them like, honey, I could be old enough to. We're
Oh,
going
yeah.
to help you understand what to do in those situations, because we don't want anybody to come up missing. All right.
Right.
All right. Thanks so much for being with us this time. We hope to see you next time. Take care and God bless.